All right, the Houston Texans sign kind of an unknown beast. And if you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but this channel fully dedicated to teams that just kind of get overlooked by the national media. The Lions did for years, and the Texans and the Lions, real similar. We've been following you guys and talking about you guys for a couple of years now. So if you're a Houston Texans fan, make sure you subscribe. And by the way, let me know what you think on the new logo. Is that a new logo you guys have, or what? It's hard to see here. To me, outsider's perspective, looks a little baseball-y. I mean, logos and the whole thing is so important. It's just, man, bummer. That's what I would say. It's not terrible. It's just like, what is that H? It looks like a baseball. All right. You may have missed this, but you signed Darrell Taylor. He was with Chicago last year. Now, I think this is really interesting and something I like looking at. We'll look at him here in just a second. What I like looking at is whenever you get a guy from a bad team, I think that's so interesting because bad teams, they're bad for a reason. It's not just because of one player. It's the whole thing. And, do you check out for the last 5 games, 10 games? If you come from the Jets, you come from bad organizations. I mean, you look at the guy that he was with the Jets, then he goes to the Eagles. He trades positions. Mekhi Becton, he was a tackle. Then he goes to a guard. He's just like this all-world guard. It's just like makes you wonder, do the Jets know what they're doing? So he goes from the Bears. Bears are not, they've just not been good for a long time. He was with the Seahawks, did really well, then goes to the Bears, not so good. Now you have him. And it's like, let's go. Here's what I like about this dude. He's played a lot of football. He was the 48th overall pick by Seattle out of Tennessee in 2020. In 2022, he had 9.5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 4 forced fumbles for the Seahawks. Last season, he had a couple sacks and a forced fumble in week 1, but just, it's like he didn't really hear a lot about him. Things were kind of like, again, bad team. So I love seeing like, yes, let's go. So here's a tape on him that I'd like, all right, if you're getting anything like close to this, you're going to be happy. So here he is over at the right side, left defensive end. Just takes this tight end who, sucks and just, but it's like, that's what you're supposed to do against a tight end. Just absolutely destroy him. Somehow Jonathan Taylor gets like back to the line of scrimmage. But that's like, okay. And then never forget, this dude ran on the field after an interception. He's number 52 when he was with the Seahawks. He's on the sideline. And he's like, yeah, let me run on the field and help block. So that's who you're getting. I love that. Let's go. All right. Other good news if you're a Texans fan is the latest mock draft has you taking Colston Loveland, which, being up here in Michigan fan, Loveland could be really special. And the reason is because he didn't have a quarterback for his last season. 0 quarterback. And I don't think you understand that unless you really watched Michigan. They did not have a quarterback that could throw passes. It was bizarre. That's why the Ohio State upset is so epic, because they could not throw the ball. So you didn't really get to see Colston Loveland. What can he do? What can he not do? But even in that, you could tell he was special. So keep an eye on Colston Loveland, 25, because I seen him all the way up in the 20 or in the teens. So I love that. Now, if you look around too, at pick 26, Jahad Campbell, there's people around there that are really good too. So I've always said this. Picking in the top 10 is great if you need a quarterback. Outside of that, there's no real advantage. It's crazy. So you've got a lot of people to pick from. You're going to be just fine down there at 25. Other good news is article was put out about players that are up, next 20 players that are up for big extensions. I won't go through it all, but basically the Texans don't have anybody. And this is good and bad news. The good news is you don't have to budget for that huge extension. We know your quarterback's coming up, but in the immediate future, you don't have anybody that's coming up. So that's really good. You got some cap space flexibility. The bad news is you'd like kind of every year to have to make a decision on a really good player that you drafted. Do you keep him or let him go? Not this year, though. Don't have to worry about that. Other good news, and this is kind of where teams are at now, is like, all right, we're going to go through the draft here at the end of April, and then we know we got some really good players still available if we want them. So again, these are not anybody that's going to lead you to the Super Bowl, but there really could be quality depth pieces, starters. Like all these guys could be solid number 2 corners. You've got some defensive ends still out there. Got a wide receiver. Got some interior offensive linemen still out there. So I think teams are going to go see what they get in the draft. They don't get what they want, don't fill the needs that they were hoping to fill. There's still players available. So I think that's perfect. The other thing that's interesting is there's been, I'll show you this, and I think this is interesting because PFF did an article about boom or bust guys. Willie Lampkin, North Carolina. He's 5'10", 270, and he's an interior offensive lineman. If you look at this chart, it shows the general cluster of where guys should be size-wise, height and weight. A couple outliers here, but for the most part, you can see where they're at. He is dramatically under all of these guys. So why is this good news for the Texans? Is because this is an area that you want to strengthen. He was incredible at the Senior Bowl, but people are going to be like, yeah, I don't know, man. You're too small. So he could drop 3rd, 4th, 5th round. I don't know. You could get a really good steal here at a position that you're looking for, so keep an eye on that. The other guys is Shamar Stewart. Another big-time player that, again, an area that the Texans would be happy to get. Keep an eye on him. He could be really special. He doesn't really have pass rushing production, so he could drop to you later on. I think that'd be perfect. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. And again, make sure you subscribe if you're a Texans fan. But I think this offseason's been pretty wild. Not what you expected. However, in some ways, you could make the argument the Texans got better. You can make the argument they got worse. The Stephon Diggs, like losing him, like no big deal. You do lose a all-pro, Pro Bowl lineman. That's like, don't like that. However, the draft will tell the story. If you can draft well, those guys develop, it's all good. But it comes back to drafting. It always does, and it always will. So there's things you can do, free agency, trades, that's all good. You're kind of setting up your team, but if you draft well, it doesn't matter. If you draft bad, all those moves don't matter anyway. You draft the bad, it's like it doesn't matter. So draft well. Can't wait for that. And go from there, right? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see all of you on the next one.